How's it going, everyone? Yosef back here with another video, and I hope you're having an amazing week so far. Today I wanted to bring us back to my 2023 Volkswagen Golf R because I have owned this car now for exactly a year, and I wanted to share with you some of the cool little hidden features that I have discovered from owning this car and driving it for a year. Now, you may have found some that I haven't covered in today's video, and if you have, please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. But if not, this will be exciting and fun for you to get to know your car a little bit better as I have over the last year. All right, so let's go. So the first hidden feature that you may not know about, and I did talk about it in one of my previous videos, is that you can drop all the windows with the key fob. Now check this out. I know I've got a little cover on here, so don't mind that, but if I press and hold on the unlock button on the key fob, watch what happens to the windows. And if I stop in the middle, it'll also stop the windows from going all the way down. So you can be really precise with how you want the windows to be open when you press and hold the key fob. Check that out, it goes all the way down. And what's even better is when you go back up to the car, and let's say you left them open and you just wanted to close them on your way out, and you said, oh, I don't want to have to go back into the car to lock everything and close the windows. All you have to do is just press and hold on the touch button over here, and all the windows will go back up. And you can stop it in the middle if you wanted to. So if you wanted to close it just a little, you can do that too. But if you want to close it all the way, just press and hold again, all the windows will go back up. That to me is just such a cool feature, and I wish I knew about that when I first got the car, but it's something I've played around with now, and honestly, I use it all the time. All right, for the next hidden feature, we're gonna go into the car, and there are a few really interesting things that you can find when you get on the inside of the car. One of them is when you start the car, you can actually start it at a higher RPM. And so what that means is if you want to have a louder exhaust note when you just first cold start the car, you have the ability of doing that. And to me, I think that's kind of a cool party piece. If you're at a Cars and Coffee or you want to show off the really awesome exhaust that comes stock with the car, all you have to do is press and hold the stop start button for a couple seconds. And you can do this also with the manual, which is kind of cool. So watch this. We're going to press and hold for a couple seconds. It's going to tell me on the gauge cluster, press clutch to start. And after about 2 seconds, I'm going to press the clutch. And look at that. It turns the car on at 2000 RPM instead of, 1500 or 1200 where it normally would. Okay, the next couple things are going to be related to the infotainment system. Now, one of them is pretty obvious. A lot of people have talked about this in the past, and I have as well. But if you wanted to turn the heated seats on when you're in the car, instead of going to the climate menu and then tapping on the heated seats and then clicking on the level that you want, what you can do as a shortcut is, we're going to go out of the climate control menu for a second. So what you can do as a shortcut is take 2 fingers and just tap over here, and what you'll notice is the heated seats go on max, and if you tap it again, you can bring it down to the second level or the first stage, or turn it off altogether. And that to me is a really cool, neat feature that not a lot of people know about, but it's something that comes on every Volkswagen model now that has one of these sort of touch panels here for the infotainment system. Now, another cool feature that's hidden in the infotainment system that is sort of a hallmark of previous Golfs and other Volkswagen products of the past is when you're in certain menus, there's actually a sensor near the screen that will read when your finger gets close to the screen. So what you'll notice is right now, when I'm not close to it, there isn't as much information on the sidebar over here. But watch what happens as I bring my hand a little closer. It says destination and map and contacts and settings. And that's a really cool thing because it gives you a simplified view, but when you bring your hand a little bit closer, it gives you a bit more detail. And that to me is a cool little party trick that comes with all Volkswagens and has for a long time now. Now, one other cool infotainment system trick that a lot of people aren't aware of is, well, this whole section over here is customizable. Now, there's a drop-down menu that's sort of hidden at the top, and you can pull that down, and if you wanted to, you can actually change the things that are listed over here, those widgets. So you can bring them down and change them to whatever you would like, and that way, every time now you go and bring down that drop-down menu, you can totally customize the menu up here, and that way, every time you get into the car, you have it set up exactly the way that you want it. And that's something that I find to be really awesome because a lot of times people have been complaining that it's really hard to get to some shortcuts. It's hard to go into all the different menus and find things. And this way you have the ability of sort of having this drop-down menu customized in the way that you want it to. Now on top of that, if we go back into the climate control menu really quick, you'll notice that you've got all of these different features for the climate controls. You've got the fan speed and the direction that you want to have the air coming out, all the temperature stuff and the syncing and all of that. But there's also a section here called Air Care and Smart Climate. Now, these I find to be really cool because the Smart Climate is a way for you to just click one or two buttons. Instead of setting all the different settings up the way that you might need them, you can just say, look, I want my feet to be warm, or I want the window to be clear, or I want cold feet. And that way it does all of those other settings and sets them up for you, so you don't have to worry about them. And that's something that I didn't know about the first time I got into the car. I thought, well, there's all these climate control settings, but it's not so intuitive, and sometimes you have to click multiple buttons to get the things that you want. But in this case, if you click on the climate control and you go to the Smart Care, that gives you all of those features sort of condensed into smaller functions. Now, another hidden feature that's part of this car that you may not know about and you may not use very often is putting the wipers into a service position. Now, the reason why you may want to do this is if you're cleaning your car, you're having it detailed, or perhaps you need to change the windshield wipers because, well, they've gone bad and you've had them for a long time. So under the vehicle menu, I'm just going to bring us back there so you can see how we get there. If we go back to the vehicle menu under exterior and we shift ourselves all the way around, there is a section here for the wipers. And first of all, you can set it up obviously to have the automatic wipers in the rain, but if you put the wipers in service position, it'll bring them up so that you can now clean the window properly and change the wiper blades if you wanted to. So that's something that I find to be really cool. Otherwise, you would have a really hard time getting the wipers up or changing them if you had not put them in the service position. And when you click that off, the wipers go right back down. Another cool feature that we have within the infotainment system is if we go back to the vehicle settings and head to interior, there is an option here to take a look at the seats. And you'll notice there's a driver's seat setting over here, and you may not know what that is, but if you click on that, what'll happen is it'll allow you to have easy entry getting into the car. And what that means is when the car is off and you go and unlock the door, it'll actually move the seat back so that you have more room to get into the car. And then once you turn the car back on, it'll put you back into your memory seat position. But until then, it gives you just an easier time to get in and out of the car. And it's the same thing when you turn off the car, it'll push your seat all the way back so that you've got more room to get out of the car. Now, that's a really cool feature. I particularly don't like it because I always have kids in the back when I go pick them up from school, and I don't want them to get crushed by the seat moving all the way back. So I keep it off, but it's something that if you didn't know about and you don't have a lot of occupants in the back very often, that's a really cool feature to have. And it's something that could be fun and just makes things a little bit easier when you're getting in and out of the car. All right, one other cool feature that you may not know about is when you put the car into reverse, you automatically get this camera setting, but there are actually two different options for the camera. You can have a wider angle lens that gives you a really, really wide view, or if you click on those three dots, then it also gives you the option to go back to the regular view. And you can have different settings set up over here. So you've got rear traffic alerts, you can do sort of the collision mitigation type stuff and park distance control settings and all of that kind of stuff. But the one thing that I find really cool that a lot of people don't know about is there are two angles in terms of the viewing for the backup camera. And if you didn't know about that setting, then you'd always default to the regular one. But if you were in a really tight space and you wanted to have a wider angle and see beyond cars that are around you and maybe people walking that are not super visible, that's a really cool thing that you have. Now, the last cool setting that I'm going to talk about for this video is gesture controls. Now, a lot of cars nowadays have gesture controls, and Volkswagen hasn't done a whole lot in terms of that, but you do have them. And the way you access it is you just sort of slide your hand in front of the screen, and when you're close enough, it'll shift your screen over to the next menu. And it works both ways. It doesn't work all the time perfectly, but it's kind of nice when you have the ability to use the gestures as well. Okay, now the last feature that I wanted to talk about in today's video is when you go into reverse and you have your mirrors in the right mirror setting, you have the ability of dropping the side mirror so that you don't curb your wheels. Now check this out. It'll go automatically down So as I'm backing up, you have the ability to see everything that's beside you, so you don't have to worry about curbing your wheels. Now, it won't work in any of the other settings. It has to be set on the right mirror setting. And once you do that, it'll automatically drop that right side mirror, so you don't have to worry about not being able to see things right next to you. And when you put yourself back into drive or into first gear, all of a sudden it'll put itself back up, so you don't have to worry about it being stuck in that position anymore. And then you can go back to your normal mirror setting, which I think is kind of cool. All right, so those are all the cool hidden features that I've discovered in my 2023 Volkswagen Golf R. I hope you found this video helpful and entertaining, and hopefully it's helped you learn a little bit more about your Golf R or GTI that you might have. Let me know if you found any other hidden secret sort of settings that you've got in the car that I didn't find, but these are all the ones that I thought might be really cool and worth mentioning. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you to those of you that keep coming back and watching the videos and commenting all the time. I really truly appreciate it, and it helps give you motivation to keep making videos like these. Have an amazing rest of your week in the meantime, and I'll catch you again in the next video.